Greece has secured a deal to unlock the latest bailout instalment, convincing international creditors that important progress has been made on economic reforms. To discuss promises the country has made, as well as the reaction by the public, I'm joined down the line by Yannis Monogios, Head of Fiscal and Monetary Policy at the Centre for Planning and Economic Research in Athens. Yannis, thank you for joining me. Now, the latest hurdle for Greece is to cut 15,000 civil service jobs by the end of 2014. Firstly, why have civil service jobs been targeted?
Well, Jennifer, first of all, I'm not sure if that's the latest hurdle for Greece. I'm very much afraid that there will be many more down the road. But to get to your question, first of all, this was actually stipulated in the bailout plan, and specifically it's been stipulated in the Greek adjustment program agreed between the Greek government and the Troika, that by 2015, 150,000 people will be leaving the public sector. Now, getting into details, after having drafted the medium-term fiscal strategy, the updated version of it last November, which spans over 2013 to 2016, there has been a provision there that foresees a reduction of this amount of civil servants by 2014. And specifically, there has been what's called the Civil Servants Mobility Plan, which foresees 25,000 people from the public sector to be on mobility by 2014. Now, out of those 25,000 people, 10,000 people will be actually dismissals, and 15,000 people will be dismissed, but their position will be taken over by another 15,000 young, better qualified professionals, which will be hired in the public sector during that time period. Therefore, it's been foreseen, as I said before, and it's been stipulated in Greece's economic adjustment program. The one thing that one needs to know is that Troika's preoccupation with the size of the public sector in Greece is what actually lies behind this decision. And the rationale for this is that Greece's public sector, as compared to the private sector in this country, is being huge. Therefore, measures need to be taken in order to reduce the size of the public sector. And that's the answer to your first question.
Well, you are in Athens right now, so what reaction have you seen from the people of Greece to this news?
Well, Jennifer, as we speak, this very moment, there has been a massive strike outside, and organized, of course, by the Confederation of the Greek General Confederation of Labor Unions, which purports to the private sector, along with the Greek Civil Servants Confederation, the Civil Servants Labor Union. They are on strike right now, as we speak, half day off today from 12 midday onwards. And it's been joined by other confederations, or labor unions better, such as the doctors, the teachers, all those civil workers on the transportation sector, the buses, the trains, and they claim that this is just the beginning because they protest against the measures. They say that this will actually be opening Pandora's box, because this way, by laying off civil servants the way it's been agreed with the Troika so far, it's actually a direct violation of the Greek constitution, which protects those who work in the public sector on a permanent basis. And they are much afraid that this will actually be just the beginning, setting a bad precedent, but enabling the government in the future to move on, laying off many more. That's why they are protesting right now. And although we do not know the exact plans for next day's protests, I'm sure, according to their announcements, that there will be much more strikes coming on in the next days or so.
What will these latest cuts do to Greece's unemployment rate?
Well, that's a really good question. Actually, nobody will be in a position to give you a precise answer to this question, and the reason being that the figures for the unemployment will pretty much depend on a number of factors, not just those who is scheduled to be laid off from the public sector. There have been reports lately trying to estimate what the impact of the Cypriot crisis will be on Greece. And if that's the case, and hypothetically speaking, there will be a negative impact on Greece's GDP, that will in turn mean a rise in unemployment. But nonetheless, if one needs to make reference to official numbers, the latest World Economic Outlook IMF report states that in 2013 unemployment will remain roughly around 27%, seeing only a marginal decline in 2014 by 1 percentage point, around 26%. However, here at the Center of Planning and Economic Research, and according to last month's forecasts we had out, we had foreseen that by the end of 2013 unemployment will touch the heights of 30% due to a number of factors. But nonetheless, what will happen with unemployment and what the unemployment rate will be at the end of the day will be determined by the interaction of a number of factors. Among those most prominent are also the tourist flows in that summer, expected to be actually more than last year, which may act, if you wish, to the opposite direction than the factors discussed before. So, to cut the long story short, we hope that unemployment will not rise by much, but certainly we don't see it coming down.
You mentioned GDP before. Greece saw a contraction of 6.4% for 2012. What do you expect to see for the rest of this year?
Right. You know, Jennifer, GDP is a moving target. Clearly, the risks are on the downside, and I'm afraid that risking a prediction if the GDP decline will be, let's say, 4.6% as the or 4.2% as the latest Troika predictions have it, or such as 4.1% as the latest KEPE predictions had it, or anybody else. It's just anybody's guess. My understanding is that if the structural reforms and fiscal consolidation move ahead the way they've been scheduled to by the end of 2013, that will actually help the economy recover sooner. However, if we see delays again, or if we see some kind of fearful social reaction to what's happening, and possibly we see some slowdown in the tourism flows this summer, then the GDP predictions might point to the opposite direction, and the prediction for minus 4.2 might end up to be higher, even maybe 5%, minus 5%, but no one is in a position to tell exactly how things will turn out by the end of the year. One thing is for sure, that it's been said that Greeks are notorious for writing history faster than they can learn from their millennia-long one. That's true, and let's hope that this time, having learned from our past mistakes, we will concentrate on what really needs to be done in order to get to the targets agreed with our lenders.
That was Yannis Monogios from the Centre of Planning and Economic Research with the latest news from Greece's austerity measures. Make sure you check out the latest financial headlines by keeping clicked to Dukascopy TV.